Hello and welcome to Sports Today. 22 years of Mithali Raj, the start of a white ball series which is of paramount significance for this team with the World Cup just months away. That's our prime focus at the start of the show. We will talk about the Indian shooting team, especially the mixed pistol team, the two teams rather, Saurabh Chaudhary, Manu Bhakar, Abhishek Verma and Yashaswini Daswal doing brilliantly in the ISSF World Cup. Second qualification, they were 2 and 3. First qualification, they were 1 and 3. Fantastic performance. Two medals in prospect, one an assured one, silver or gold, and the other one, they will be part of the bronze medal playoff. So that's our news point number 2. News point number 3 will be the Euros, starting tonight, 9:30 India time, Wales versus Denmark. Back in Ajax, back in Amsterdam, a home to Christian Eriksen for a period. Will be an emotional homecoming for the Danes. They will have support because Wales will not have supporters because of COVID travel protocols. And obviously Euros, Italy plays Austria. Overwhelming favourites, Italy tonight at 12:30. And the fourth point that we will have is obviously that Michael Holding special. We will play the full interview for you today. Already that interview has been receiving rave reviews. We've played it on India Today television. We'll play it the full version on Sports Today uncut. The 32-minute interview will be played out for you on Sports Today today. So welcome to my friend, someone who has been part of Mithali Raj's journey and the Indian women cricket journey. To preview the series and talk to me about Mithali Raj, let's welcome Jaya Sharma. Jaya, welcome.
Thank you so much.
22 years of Mithali. Thoughts?
I am speechless right now because you cannot explain that in words, because 22 years saying that is very easy, but I've seen that process going, and I'm talking about the time in 1990s, and our partnership and our we have been teammates for quite some time, and we were together in under 19 India camp when we were around 14, 15 years of age. And that was the time when we both came together. And I know that Mithali Raj. And from there, she has become the household name in women's cricket, in the world cricket. So glad to share the dressing room with her.
Okay, so Jaya, you've just given us a lot. You've told us 24 years, 25 years you know her. Now give us a story that none of us know. Give us a story that only a Jaya Sharma knows. I mean, something of Mithali Raj that is not in the public domain. Today, as we celebrate her, allow us to get at her. I mean, I will definitely give her a call and say, Jaya, give us this story on Sports Today. So tell me something that we don't know.
We have been part of Indian Railways for almost 10 years, and we all always used to pull Mithali's leg, because whenever there was a crucial toss, Mithali knew that she's gonna lose the toss, and that is something we always pulled her leg, because saying that Mithali रहने दे, ये तेरे से नहीं होगा. So this is something we always had a laugh about, and this is a bit of the not in terms of very serious note, but yes, this is something that on a lighter note we shared in our dressing room.
Okay,
And
so we will see. We will see tomorrow what happens if she wins the toss. I'm going to get back at Jaya Sharma.
you just we just saw that in the test match.
सही बात है. Okay, on that note, but जो उनसे होगा, वो है innings and runs and scores and big scores, and I mean, what an absolute fantastic batter she has been. Take a look at an interview that we had done where she actually talks about it. Trisha, can we have the first video, please?
It's long back, 2014 and 2002. I don't remember much of it because back there we didn't have any videos or any clippings of it to revisit. But I think I went in, as I said, sometimes it's good not to have baggage. You just go in to enjoy the format, try and, enjoy being on the ground. For me, it was as a 19-year-old, that's what you look at. And I did had good partnerships with him, Lata Kala and Julan. Julan also was a 19-year-old, and I remember that, I always say I enjoyed batting with the lower orders because they sort of get they don't play seriously. You can crack fun at them, and then they don't really show that intensity, like a top order that you want to focus, that sort of mannerism. But she was one of them who encouraged me, probably when I told her that I'm tired batting for one whole day. So she said, nahi, you know, हमको करना है इंडिया के लिए, look at the flag, वो उसके लिए करना है. So when you have such characters in the side, you enjoy batting with them. And you know, I went on to score that double hundred. I didn't realize back then, you know, that was a world record, and it's a huge thing until I came back home in Hyderabad for the reception that I had. Until then, I didn't know about the achievement. It's good that, you know, it all started from there, I would say, the women's cricket, especially in my state, where people started to acknowledge women's cricket and women cricketers. And then maybe after 2005, things started to roll slowly for women's cricket.
Beautiful, beautiful story as well. Beautiful story. Jaya, set up the series for me. What are you looking at? How do you preview the series? Give me a sense of your team. Is it Poonam or Ekta or both? Will it be Jemmy? Will it be Poonam? So give me a sense of your thoughts and set it up how important it is for us.
I believe that we have gained momentum out of the test match, and our few of the batters, they are in good flow. We have seen some good debutant performances. That is a good sign for us. And I think first game will be crucial. If we can win the first game, we will get the momentum in our side. And for me, I think for the first game we'll have Poonam, because she was there in the middle. She has done that. She scored runs, and we'll be looking Jemima in the most shortest format of the game, probably. And then I think in the left arm spin department, I believe we'll be able to see Radha Yadav coming in, because we in a shorter format in one day, they will be looking for more all-rounders, because we are going with four pure batsmen in terms of Smriti Mandana, Shefali Verma, Poonam Raut, Mithali Raj. So they have to have at least 4-5 all-rounders, and I think that'll make a way for Radha Yadav, because she's all-rounder, left arm spinner bat as well.
And an outstanding fielder. She will clearly
Yes,
save 20 runs, perhaps the best fielder that we have in this team.
Yes, of course.
The second point is, do you think there will be, I mean, the South Africa series will have any impact, and will they carry that? Or now that they have done superbly well in the test match, that is no longer an issue? We carry momentum. What is baggage is baggage. That's a thing of the past.
Yes, definitely. We have got the momentum, first thing. Second thing, very important, that in South Africa series, we missed out on Shefali. We missed out on Shikha Pandey. We missed out on Tanya Bhatia. And these are the core. These are, when you talk about one day or T20, these are the core players. So I think second part is that we have got these players now. And second, that momentum is on our side. So I don't think so that they will carry this baggage along them.
Excellent. And do you see Indrani making her debut in the shortest format? Because outstanding domestic season, obviously a youngster you would want to sort of have in the side. Tanya's done fabulously well. So how do you see that? I mean, do you see 50 overs going with Tanya, 20 overs they will try out Indrani, because maybe, you know, more aggressive batter in that sense? How do you see that?
I think yes. I mean, this is a very impressive, and we have the luxury of having different players in different format. So it shows that we have got a widened talent pool of players, and it's a very good sign for Indian women's cricket. So I can probably say that we can make use of these two players, Tanya in the one day format, and probably Indrani Roy in the T20s. I
Okay.
think we can have her in T20.
Okay. And where do you see Harmanpreet Kaur bat? I mean, will there be pressure? Because recent times we have not been able to finish the innings in the manner we would want. The second question is, if you bat her up the order, she gets more time and then obviously explode. If you just allow her that last 10-15 overs, you're putting pressure that comes, start hitting straight away. she is one of the key players in this team, but not being consistent has started to put pressure on her as well. Where do you see Harman coming in and batting?
I think she definitely right now she's not in good touch, but as we have seen her in past, she's a very handy player in the shorter formats,
Of course, of
and
course.
and she has to face the maximum overs when it comes to the shortest formats, and we have seen that by Virat Kohli doing that, coming out to open in the England T20s, because that he is the best bet out there, and that's why he came out to open. And we have got these two players like Shefali and Harman. So I think we should be placing them that they should face the maximum number of overs for us. So I
So
think
give.
Harman should be in on top order. If we have got a good start with Shafali and Smriti being in the limelight, then I think Harman should be pushed up the order at number 3.
Ah, nice. So you are saying that if India does get a good start, you can even get Harman up to number 3. So give me your batting order. Give me the lineup that the way you would want the top 6, because conventionally it is these two and then Poonam, Mithali, Deepti, Harman. That's the way India has gone about it. But would you want Harman at 5, Deepti at 6? How do you
Right.
want it?
In one day, probably if we have got the good start, I would like to have Mithali in first at number 3. Then probably as we go along the process, if they are set, if Mithali is set, or either Shifali or Smriti is set, then we can go out there and explore and take the bowlers on. If the situation is like that we have seen in the test match, that the wickets fall back to back, then maybe we can push in Poonam for a bit, and then Deepti to fall after Harman, and then maybe Sneh Rana and Radha Yadav can come in.
Excellent, because even Snake can start hitting the ball. I mean, we've
Yes,
seen that. We've seen her ability to tonk the ball, which is important towards the latter
right,
part of the innings. And
right.
uh, just a word on the bowling department. Obviously, we had young bowlers, whether it's Monica Patel or Pratyusha in that South Africa series, who aren't ready for international cricket yet. So there now with Shikha Pandey back, with Jhulan and Shikha. Jhulan too was injured, the hand injury. So now the
Yeah.
two of them, English conditions, bowling at the top of the order. You've got good spinners. So it's a well-rounded bowling attack that this team has.
Yes, definitely. I mean, on paper, we have got a very balanced side. It's just a matter of right execution of the strategy that the think tank builds for the team. And I think if we can get a early breakthrough with the Julan and Shika bowling in tandem, and if we can get either Tammy Beaumont or Heather Knight out, I think we can negotiate with the later batsman coming in, and then we have good quality spinners to contain. And I think in the one day format, the most important factor is the containment, and we have got bowlers to do that.
Okay, Jaya. I mean, how important the start of the World Cup, the preparation in earnest, the start of the World Cup thing from tomorrow?
Yes, of course. I mean, World Cup is something that the team is eyeing for, and the earlier loss that we have seen in T20 and 2017 World Cup, we were able to reach to the finals, but were not able to cross the line. So I think the team should be keen, and now that everything is a new setup, we have got some new exciting players. So I believe that the World Cup campaign should start from the World Go, and it should start from the first One Day International against England.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I mean, beautifully set up there by Jaya Sharma. We'll have her back. Obviously during the series starting tomorrow, Jaya and Rima Malhotra will both be there on Sports Today talking to us and giving us their views. Watch out for their videos on our social media platforms, because two people, two former players who well know the Indian dressing room, the psyche can build up to that World Cup. Thank you very much, Jaya. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time. Thank you for
Pleasure.
joining me.
Pleasure.
And as we said, once again, 22 years of Mithali Raj. Let me give you a second video celebrating Mithali Raj before I move on to Indian shooting. and how they are doing in that World Cup. Here's Mithali Raj and our celebration.
Looking at the World Cup, I think it will be an equal arena for all the teams, because most the world has been hit by the pandemic. Everybody have been irregular in terms of getting facilities for training, or the series that is being conducted has not been the way the preparation should be for every country, every team. Having said that, yes, we do have a few series lined up this year against good sides like England, Australia. We will be playing New Zealand before the World Cup. So I think these series are very important for the team. One, in terms of understanding our strengths, our combinations. Second is to try and give the core as many matches as we can to get the core into form. And also it gives a lot of confidence for the team playing the best and getting into the World Cup, understanding their strengths and weakness. As far as the areas that we need to work on, clearly coming from a series that we lost at home, important that we first get onto a very confident unit on the field, get our confidence back, and secondly is that we are trying to see if we can. We need to work on posting a much bigger total than what we've been doing in the past. That of course needs a little bit of thought in the batting order. And the bowling unit, because we're playing in New Zealand, the conditions are different than what it would be at home. We're trying and working on a pace department, getting in few young girls in the side to give them an optimum opportunity to support the senior bowlers like Julian and Shika.
So there's Mithali Raj. Many congratulations, Mithali. Look forward to the start of the final home stretch of your illustrious career from tomorrow. We will watch every ball and obviously keep supporting you. Moving on to the Indian shooters. Fantastic performance today after a rather disappointing air rifle mixed team performance from India. Elavenil patchy. Obviously, India did not live on to the expectations that all of us had. Sad day for Bajrang Punia because of the injury, but thankfully Bajrang has tweeted today that he's okay. Today, the pistol mixed team was brilliant. I mean, if you watched or followed the qualification rounds, whether it was the first qualification, Manu Bhakar and Saurabh Chaudhary on fire. Saurabh Chaudhary 100, 98, 97 and 100 again, 297 in the three relays. Fantastic performance from them. Manu Bhakar equally good. And then the Abhishek Verma, Yashaswini Daswal team was as good. The Russians were really good in the second qualification, got to 390, India 386. So the gold medal matchup between the Russians and the Indians. And the third, fourth spot also has an Indian team with Abhishek and Yashaswini. So 2 medals can well be ours. 2 very important and good teams going into the Olympics. One of the one of the events where India will have huge hopes come Tokyo, and time and again, the Saurabh Chaudhary, Manu Bhakar team has proved how good they are at world stage. So more power to them. The finals will start in exactly half an hour from now. So keep watching. Watch that on the ISSF platform. Watch the live stream and support Team India. Moving on to the Euros. 2 huge matchups today. Wales versus Denmark, 9:30 India in Amsterdam. And of course, Italy versus Austria. Let's do the Wales game first. Wales versus Denmark, how emotional it will be for the Danes. Christian Eriksen played for Ajax Amsterdam, his former club. They will want to do it for Christian Eriksen. Had a surgery after 6 days in hospital, is now much better. They had a traumatic campaign to start with, losing against Finland, losing Christian Eriksen to that cardiac arrest. And then obviously they had to encounter Belgium, which was a very difficult match, and then went on to beat Russia in an intensely fought encounter to make it to the round of 16. On the other hand, Gareth Bale's Wales will have no support in Amsterdam because of COVID rules and European travel rules. EU will not allow UK fans to come there. So that will be a bit of an advantage for Denmark, but it will be a very good matchup. Wales versus Denmark, the first pre-quarters. The second one, overwhelming favorites, Roberto Mancini's Italy. 30 games unbeaten. Unbelievable run. I mean, unbelievable run. 3 games, 3 clean sheets. What kind of flair we have seen from the Italians. Even the third game, despite all the changes, leaving Locatelli out, tells you the depth of that Italian side. They have been absolutely fantastic right through the Euros. So Italy, overwhelming favorites to go in. against Austria. Watch our special show on Euro 2020-21 with Rajarshi Gupta at 8 p.m. Watch Rajarshi preview the two games for you with all the stats and the details from around the world. So watch out for that show on Sports Today at 8 p.m. Now, final point, the Michael Holding interview. If you have watched it on India Today television, obviously because of television constraints and time and ad breaks and all of it, we can't show the full thing, but on Sports Today, we will show the full thing to you. It is an absolutely incredible interview from an incredible man. Words of inspiration, words that are deep and profound. And I have absolutely thoroughly enjoyed speaking to Michael. If you can read the book by Michael Holding. And what depth. It will give you a new purpose. He has given cricket a new purpose since last year, after that morning in Southampton where he spoke on Sky Sports. And be really, really fantastic to speak to him. So I leave you today with the Michael Holding interview, uncut and unabridged on Sports Today. I hope you enjoyed. Tomorrow I will see you again on Sports Today. Plenty to talk to you about. The women will be in action. Euro action continues. Wimbledon starts. So plenty of sporting action coming your way on Sports Today. For the moment, here's Michael Holding. Hello and welcome to this very special interview with somebody who have come to admire over several years, not simply after having heard what he said last year, but since I was growing up in India as a brown man, did not know about these things then. I used to admire his bowling. And sort of admired his craft. But since last year, the admiration has grown manifold. And now that I've read his book, cover to cover, why we kneel, how we rise, the admiration has since grown. Welcome, Michael Holding. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. You finished the
My
book
pleasure.
with the line, "We have a chance." And, I was reading the book and I finished the book some days back and I thought, yes, we do have a chance. I mean, you have spurned a movement. All of us started realizing what we have gone through. Each one of us was speaking out in our own ways. And then we see a Ross Taylor incident in that World Test Championship final in Southampton. He's a white man. Crowd is more or less Indian, brown skin. So what is happening? Are we too indulging in the same dehumanization that you talk about in the book? And I was alarmed, worried, frustrated, angry. Your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I'm not absolutely sure of the Ross Taylor incident that you're talking about because I have not watched the World Test Championship. There has been so much rain and so much frustration. I've not really been watching it. But whatever the incident is, and whatever we are talking about, Boria, about trying to change matters, it will not change overnight. You'll always have incidents of racism. You'll always have incidents of people saying and doing the wrong thing because that is basically the world that we were brought up in. The brainwashing that has gone on over centuries is not going to disappear in a matter of months or even a few years. But what we are hoping for is that people will learn. People can accept that things are not right and they can change their attitudes by learning the true history of the world and of mankind. And until we can manage to get that all sorted, nothing will happen. But even so, it will take some time for real change to take place.
Absolutely agree. And in your book, you emphasize the point about education. But even education, like you rightly said, has been tailored in a particular manner. When, as a trained historian myself, I have read history where I have been taught things in the way that people wanted me to learn them. How do we unlearn that? What is the process of this unlearning and where does it start? Does it start with a Michael Holding? Does it start with a Thierry Henry calling you? Does it start with a Naomi Osaka wearing the mask with the names written? Does it start with policymakers? Where does it start, Michael?
Well, actually, Boris, it has to start with policymakers because the racism is institutionalized. It is systemic. So if the policymakers don't do anything about it, it's pretty difficult for it to be real change. You'll have men on the road, you'll have people on the road, men, women, children on the road who will accept that things are not right and they will make their changes and they'll change their attitudes. But if the institutions do not change, if the system does not change, it's going to take even longer for any effective change to take place. And that has to start in the schools. As you said, Boria, you and I, we were taught things that in school that I have discovered to be false. I discovered them to be false because I've done my own research. Now, we can't expect everyone to go out and do their own research. We have to teach the real history. We have to teach the full history, and that goes back to schools. And already you're hearing people pushing back that they don't intend to change the curriculum at schools. Until the curriculum at schools change and we teach the full history, we will struggle. What we need, the people who have the power to take action, to recognize that things are wrong and take action. No, when I was a young man going to school, there was nothing taught in Jamaica about any great things that Black people or people of color did. I had to become a big grown man to do my own research to find out that Thomas Edison, although he invented the light bulb, did not invent a functional light bulb. It wasn't until a Black man invented the carbon filament that we had a functional light bulb. We didn't know that it was a Black man that invented the three-way traffic light system. Every day you go on the road, you see a traffic light. Nobody knows who invented it because it wasn't a white man, so they don't push it. And that is what we need to do. We need to re-educate people as to the truths of the world. They told me that Christopher Columbus discovered Jamaica. Jamaica had been in existence and people had been living there for years and years and hundreds and thousands of years. So how come can you discover something? What he did was make Europe aware of Jamaica. But the arrogance of the European, because they did not know about it, it doesn't exist. Well, all that rubbish has to change.
You know, the point is, and like you have written about the discovery of America and America Day and all of that, but my point is far more fundamental. I mean, you mentioned the policymakers, but we know what kind of policymakers exist in our world. And,
yes.
And there I want to bring you to the power of sport. Like Michael Holding on that gray day, cloudy, rainy day, all of a sudden spurned a movement. And you yourself write in the book that for a long, long time in your life, you had learned to internalize, let things go. I, for example, after reading your book, thought, oh, you know what, when I was traveling to Oxford for the first time, what I went through on the flight, and it was a British Airways flight, and you can understand, when I was there, my English accent was different, and I learned to keep quiet because maybe that was my way at internalizing insult. And each one of us have gone through this, but each one of us are educated. What is education? Is education what we read, or is education what this human race is all about? That is what needs to change. And can you tell me what, according to you, sport can do in this? Because you are a sports person, you have the power to change the world in a particular manner. Tell me what your thoughts are on how sport can play a role.
Well, not just sport, Boria. Anyone that has a platform can help to put pressure on the people who make policy. If they keep on speaking out, if they keep on putting pressure on policymakers, at some point, because the policymakers are put there by us, the people who do the voting, we put them there. None of them are self-elected. We put them there. And if we speak up enough and we put enough pressure on them, they will eventually come around and do the right thing. So it's not just sports people. Sports people have a platform, yes, because we are well revered all over the world. You know, people in India, Pakistan, South Africa know of me because I played for the West Indies. So we have some sort of a platform, but there are others, and everyone needs to get on board. Everyone needs to get on board and put pressure on these policymakers. Because as you talk about what is taught and what is learned, people at school, I go back to schools. Kids at school learn what you teach them at school. They will believe what teachers tell them. They will believe what seniors and elders tell them. And if we tell them and teach them the wrong thing, they will grow up in a society believing the wrong thing. And that is what has happened with racism. The white race has been taught and told and inculcated with this false narrative that they are superior to black and people and brown people. And until that narrative is squashed, and until we can get people to recognize the fact that we are just all human beings, we will struggle as far as racism and equality is concerned. And that has to start in the schools.
Get it. I buy it also. But that is a long-term process. I mean, again, I come
It
back to
has to be
sports.
long term, Boria. It has to be. Nothing that has been going on for over 400 years can be short term. It
True,
can't
and in
change in a
fact,
short term.
true, and this is perhaps the world's worst pandemic, which has been carrying on for hundreds and hundreds of years. So I get that point, Michael. But my point is, while this is long term, if I can come back to cricket again, in the short term, when I see an incident like a Mohammad Siraj, when I see an incident like a Ross Taylor, I get angry because in our own little sphere, the microsphere of sport, there is no institutional mechanism to punish the perpetrators of racial abuse. They get free, they are thrown out of the stadium, end of story. They will brag, oh, you know what, I've abused Michael Holding. That is my deed of the day. And that's how these guys are. And neither the ICC nor the individual boards, there is no formal mechanism to protect us. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, if there's no formal mechanism, there needs to be one. This is a serious problem that we are having. But I have heard of an incident with Jafra Archer in New Zealand when he was racially abused at a cricket ground. And they basically just evicted that person. You are saying that there should be more than just an eviction. Well, that has to now go into law because there are laws that dictate that certain things are crimes. There are, you know, some certain racial abuse is a crime and it can be punishable by law. If we can get there, that is fine. But Boria, what my argument is this: all these people that hurl abuse at cricket grounds, the people that play cricket, the people that administrate cricket, they all come from the society. If we can fix the society, the individual sports, whichever sport it is, cricket or otherwise, will also get fixed. Because that is my situation. That is where I look. I am looking globally. I'm not looking at one little incident or one little sport. I want to see the world change. I want to see the societies change so that we don't have the society that creates the sort of person that is going to go to a cricket ground and abuse someone, or who is playing a sport and abuses someone racially. That is what I'm hoping for. Fix the society, we fix all sports.
And that's what you write in your book. I mean, I'm glad what you said, because it came, almost like a spontaneous thing that particular morning in England. Thierry Henry calls you. You start speaking to multiple people, achievers, each day in their own right, whether it's Usain, whether it's Michael Johnson. I've also had a chance to interact with Michael Johnson on the same India Today platform. And the point is, each of you are being taken seriously for the fact that you are actually saying, what you are telling me is you are able to do so because you are Michael Holding, because you are Usain Bolt, because you are Naomi Osaka. What about the common man? The common man, for that educator to learn, has to know from a Michael Holding. It's a systemic problem, which you rightly said is very deep. While I read the book, I feel inspired, I feel disturbed, I feel angry when I read about the lynchings. At the same time, if I'm a normal man, I'm not Michael Holding, I feel powerless. What is your suggestion to me? What should I do? How can I contribute?
You are not powerless. You have a vote. You and your friends and the entire country, you have a vote. And if you put people in power that have no way of thinking that something is wrong, and they have no intention to make any changes, you have a vote. It's as simple as that. The normal man has more power because there are more normal people who vote than Michael Johnson's or Usain Bolt's or Michael Holding. I have one vote. But all the normal people add up to a lot. And if people believe that policies need to change, and the people in power to make changes with policies do not make those changes, the ballot box is there.
Fascinating what you say. Fascinating what you say. But at the same time, coming to a little bit of a more optimistic scenario, I'm glad that you actually made a theory on rethink. You made the others think. All of a sudden, and that line is very interesting where you say you thought it will die down after a period. It did not die down. The thing carried on. Me being brown, you being black, all of a sudden we realized, oh, you know what? That had happened to us, but no longer. It is time to speak out against the world's worst form of evil. So, Michael, is this our opportunity? Has this world finally given us an opportunity?
I think so. And I think people are listening and people are hearing, not just listening, people are hearing. If you look around the world, Boria, I am very pleased with some of the changes that I have seen, some of the actions that I have seen. First of all, if you go back into the 1960s with Martin Luther King and the marches that they had for human rights and all that sort of thing, the majority, the vast majority, I would think 95% of the people who were marching and demonstrating were all black or brown people. If you look at the last summer with the BLM marches, you had tons of white people joining in because they also recognize that things are not right. So we have support, not just from our own, but from everybody all over the world. Boria, I read about a Swedish women's football team taking the knee to signal that they are in support of Black Lives Matter. Now, that has to make people sit up and say, hey, if people like that are taking notice and see it as a cause to support, it must be worthwhile. So we have a chance. We have corporate companies who are getting involved, putting money to try and level the playing field. We have a host of different organizations who have said, this is wrong. We are going to try and open up and look at give more and more people of black and brown opportunities. So we are moving. But as I said before, and I've said on so many occasions, it is not going to happen overnight. We cannot get a level playing field overnight, but it's a process. And hopefully, now that that process has started, it will not turn back. And hopefully, as I've said, there will be enough pressure put on policymakers for them to recognize that they have to take steps.
You know, the process started in a degree with Jesse Owens in 36 against Adolf Hitler. It continued with Jackie Robinson and the American Major League Baseball. It continued with Curtis Flood. It continued with people like you. It continued in the 1980s and now with Naomi Osaka. So we are still scared. I mean, deep down, there is a fear that will this opportunity get lost again? Will this world turn its back on us again? Will the indoctrination continue? And that's what brings me to the Olympic stage again. We have an Olympic Games. Why shouldn't we allow people to protest if they need be, to take the knee, to do what a John Carlos and a Tommy Smith did?
Yeah.
Why can't we do that? Ultimately, it will be beamed to billions across the world as the most powerful message. Muhammad Ali in Atlanta is remembered. Michael Holding that morning is remembered. Why can't the IOC or the ICC or FIFA allow us to do so?
Well, you'll have to ask them. They are independent organizations, and you'll have to ask them why they won't allow it. In my opinion, they should be willing, because all of these organizations talk about fair play. If you talk about and want fair play, you should also want that in life, not just on the sporting field or in the sporting arena. So if you're a sporting organization and you highlight and keep on talking about fair play and justice, you should talk about fair play and justice in life as well. And they will try and tell you things like, oh, we don't want politics to be involved in our sport. Politics is always involved in sport. And I don't see this as a political matter. I see it as a humanitarian matter. And politics is involved in sport in so many ways. They talk about South Africa during apartheid when the politicians decided that there would be no sporting contact. It wasn't the sporting people who decided that. It was the politicians. So don't tell me politics and sport don't get involved together. But I am talking about a humanitarian matter. Forget the politics. This is about human beings asking to let us breathe.
Has it changed for Michael Holding since last year? Have you unburdened yourself? Do you feel to a degree you've been liberated in a manner that all of the guilt has come out or the pent up energy has come out? Has it changed anything for you?
To a degree, yes. I'm glad that the book has come out as well as I think it has come out, because I've had so much positive feedback from the book. I was very nervous initially about the book, but I'm glad the way it has come out. I have relaxed a little bit in that regard, in that I no longer have this pent-up energy and this pent-up feeling inside of me. I can now freely tell people and let people know exactly how I feel. But my real pleasure and my real achievement, if there is one, will be if this book has a real positive impact and people read this book and get the real message and understanding and realize that things are wrong and things need to change and real change comes. That will be something that I'll be proud of if that happens. I am not worried and proud about saying it, because if you say it and nothing happens, it doesn't really mean a lot.
I agree, and my apprehension about the book is, we all know that in our world, at least, few people read, very few people read. Having written books,
Yes.
both of us, we know that. But the power of the visual, when a Michael Holding stands in front of the world and takes a microphone and talks, that has power. And followed by the book. The book is now going to get currency, is getting currency, because there is a backstory. The backstory is that morning in Southampton. The book has a Usain Bolt, who is perhaps the greatest athlete the world has seen, a Naomi Osaka, a cult now, a Thierry Henry, perhaps one of the greatest footballers ever. And that has added to your book, and Haj Muhammad. So, for me, this was a sort of a liberation, that all of a sudden, so many role models coming together and telling me, oh, you know what, you are not powerless. Each of us have suffered the same fate as you have, being black, being brown, whatever the color of your skin is, we are together. This message of togetherness, Michael, while I was very disturbed by some of the chapters. Deep down, I started associating with you, which perhaps did not exist earlier. You were a hero of mine, but that's where it ended. Michael Holding, my hero. But now you are one of me. My daughter is one of you. That, because of the color of our skin, so it's
Yes.
a joint fight. That, for me, is my takeaway from the book. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it's all of us are in this thing together. And not just because we are brown or black, Boria. We are human beings. And that is why I'm so happy to see that so many white folk got involved with the Black Lives Matter movement. We all have to do this together. And when I talk about re-educating, we need to re-educate everyone, because a lot of white folk have been growing up believing that they are superior. A lot of black and brown folk have been growing up believing that they are inferior, and they have some inferiority complex. And we need to all come together so that we all recognize that we are just one people. We all came from the same thing. People gravitated around the world hundreds and thousands of years ago, and then their bodies adapted to the conditions that they went to. If you go into the history of mankind, it is undisputed that mankind started in Africa. Then people started to travel all over the world. And if you travel to various areas, your body will adapt. You're no longer in the sun so much, you get a lighter shade. Even me, when I come to England and there's not a lot of sun, by the time I go back to the Caribbean, I'm slightly lighter than when I came. And this is not hundreds and thousands of years. So it is a fact that we all came from the same place, and we need to recognize that it was just a matter of circumstances that changed us in whatever way that we have changed. We are all human beings created by the same superior power. Some people call it different things, but we are all the same. And until we can recognize that, we're going to have some problems. And that is why we need to re-educate everyone.
Last two questions before I let you go, because my time will be up soon. Michael Holding, at one level, is one of the greatest fast bowlers. You talk about it in a very modest way, whispering death. All of us have seen you. We have consumed you. We have appropriated you. Sir Clive is a very dear friend, launched my book in London. We've seen that generation. For 15 years, a team not losing. But what is real legacy? 200 plus wickets at 20, real legacy, or this is real legacy? Making a change at your level to the world. What is Michael Holding's real legacy? What does he think?
I'll be hoping that the book will have an impact. if the book does have an impact, as I said, that is what I'll be proud of. I got 200 odd wickets. I played in a great West Indies team, but that is all about fun and frolic and entertaining people. Legacy for someone is more important if they make positive change from humankind. That is a greater legacy than entertaining people or doing well for our nation. Humankind, mankind all over the world. If you can make some positive impact where that is concerned, that is a greater legacy. And I'm hoping that this book will have a positive impact and make great change somewhere.
Final question. You have huge legion of fans in India, huge people who admire Michael Holding for the Michael Holding that we knew, not the Michael Holding who's an activist who has made us rethink the world, but the Michael Holding on the sports field. A message from you, the Michael Holding that we are now coming to know, to the millions who are continuing to suffer in India in some shape or form, because there is discrimination and we know that, there is inequality and we know that, and it is deeply entrenched in our society. A message from Michael Holding to all his legion of followers in India.
All I'll say to everyone is don't give up hope. Don't expect change overnight, but do not give up hope. Do not let anyone tell you that you cannot achieve what your dreams say that you can. And one day we will be better off. And when I say we, I don't mean you and I, because this thing is going to take time. We as a race, we as humans will be better off. And that is what we are striving for. Our parents worked hard to make things better for us, their kids. We have to work hard to make things better for our kids. And so the lineage continues. Each generation works hard to make things better for the next generation. If you only want to make it better for yourself, that is just showing selfishness. And we have to plan long term. And that is what I like to tell everyone. Do not think just of yourself. If my parents only thought of themselves, I would not have achieved what I achieved. Let us think about the next generation and keep on thinking of generations to come and try to make things better for them.
You know, I used to do a show called Inspiration with sports people. That is perhaps one of India's most watched sports shows. This has been one. I knew it will be. It is not something that I did not expect, but you are an inspiration. You remain a real life inspiration for me. Somebody I admire,
Thank you.
somebody I look up to, and somebody I will always look up to, because you've given me not sport, but life lessons. Life lessons that I will pass on to my daughter, who's 7, and to future generations. So, Michael Holding, more power to you, more power to each one of us to make change. Like you rightly say, we do have a chance.
Definitely, we do. And all the best.
Thank you very much.